I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fair Podcast, the place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and overall positive message. I'm your host, DJ, and today's episode is inspired by something that I read in a passage, and it said that we we made one mistake, but we continue to punish ourselves over and over again, time and time again. And punishing yourself once is enough. And it really stuck with me because if you're like me, we tend to hold on to our mistakes, our bad decisions, and we'll beat ourselves up day in, day out, week in, week out about it. It could be something that happened 10 years ago, and you know what I'm saying, and it won't be on your mind, but the moment something happens and it's back on your mind, you're back to beating yourself up about it, you know what I'm saying, over and over again. And so it's something that I personally do without even thinking about it. It's not even that it's my intentions to continue to beat myself up or continue to punish myself because of what I did. It's just something that naturally happens for me. It's so hard for me to let things go, to figure out the lesson, whatever I need to learn, and then let it go. That is not an easy thing for me to do, especially when I'm the one who wronged someone, or if I'm in the wrong, whatever the case may be. It is not an easy thing to just say, "Hey, it's okay. You made a mistake, or you made a bad decision. You're wrong. Apologize for it. You know what I'm saying? Do what you need to do, and now learn that lesson and move on, so you don't do it again, so you don't have to go through it again." And you know, as I've talked about before, forgiving yourself is very hard. It's not something that, well, I know for me, it wasn't something that I was taught growing up. So it wasn't a skill that I learned, so it's all new to me. And I didn't even know that it was something that you needed to do for the longest time. I didn't know that you needed to forgive yourself. I thought forgiveness was just about forgiving others. And then I had to realize that even when you forgive others, you're doing it for you, so you can set yourself free, so you no longer have to burden yourself with something that they did to you. And now I'm learning how important it is to forgive yourself, because not only does someone doing something to you that hurts you or affects you, not only can that um pigeonholed you and chain you to that event, to that pain, to whatever happened to you. But also, when you do things to other people and now you feel bad about it, those things can also chain you to that place, to that moment, to that mistake, or to that bad decision. Now you're chained to these things. And so now I'm learning how important it is to break those chains. Now I'm just now learning that those chains are even there, because I didn't understand I needed to forgive myself for some of the decisions that I made. And some of the mistakes that I've made. I didn't even know that I needed to forgive myself for, taking certain options, going left when I should have gone right, or staying on a path when I should have gotten off, or getting off before when I should have stayed on, all of these things. And I didn't know that I needed to forgive myself, because I didn't know I had a lot of guilt and anger towards myself building up. And so when I read that passage, it resonated with me so much. I literally sat there and I read it. I was at work and I literally read it like 6 or 7 times, just letting the thought of stop punishing yourself, just flow in my head time and time again, because it's like I knew that it was right, and I knew that it was something that I needed to hear. When I read it, I knew that that was for me. In that moment, I knew that reading this book was something that I needed to do, something I was supposed to do, because that's something that I struggle with. I struggle with forgiving myself, even if it is an honest mistake. There was no ill intentions meant. Even if I apologize in the moment, all of that stuff, I will still hold on to it. And I didn't for the longest time know how to let things go. And so I'm learning how to do that now. But like I've said before, this is 30 years of, bad habits that I've, built up. So they're not going to go away in a week or in a day or in a month or in a year. So it has been easier to let things go, new things go. It's just letting go of the old things that are so hard because they're so entangled into who I am. There are things that I've held on to for so long that I damn near identify with, if at this point. So there have been things that have been harder to let go of, but I'm slowly but surely, little by little, starting to let go. And reading that passage was something that really helped me and showed me the importance of, forgiving yourself and the importance of, you know, not punishing yourself for something that you did, even though you may feel like you deserve the punishment, even if you feel like you deserve, there's reason for the punishment, all of that. You don't have to continue punishing yourself. There, like, what is the point of punishing yourself for something that may have happened 12 years ago? You see what I'm saying? Like, have you learned from it? That's the question that, instead of punishing yourself, ask yourself, have I learned from that? Would I, if I was in that same situation back then, if I was in that same situation today, would I react the same way? And if the answer is yes, then yeah, you still have some learning to do and some growing to do, not punishing to do. You've punished yourself. It's time to start learning and growing. So that way, when you ask yourself that again, the answer will be, no, I won't do it the same way. I'll do it differently because I've learned this, this, and this. And so, whenever I feel myself starting to feel guilty, or punish myself about something, that's the first thing that I try to ask myself is, if I was in that situation again, how would I handle it? And I can honestly say that lately everything has been, no, I would handle that differently. I wouldn't handle that the same way. I would do things differently, and so it's just hearing or just thinking about that and realizing that I'm not the same person. I would handle things differently. That wouldn't be my first thought to do this or to do that. It has been easier for me to let certain things go once they bubble up. And it has been easier for me to forgive myself and quit punishing myself once I realize, okay, I'm not that person anymore. I'm no longer that version of myself that would react that way. I'm no longer that version of myself that would do this or would not do this or treat people this way, or, you know what I'm saying? Those things. So it starts to feel good once I started to see that the therapy is working, that the things that I've been learning from talking to other people, from doing the podcast, everything that I've just started to do over this past year and a half, is starting to make big changes. Well, it's leading up to big changes. I'm making small changes that are leading up to big changes that I don't really see until I have moments like these where I'm looking at a situation and it's like, no, I honestly don't think that I would react this way. I would take that action. Now, obviously, I won't know until I'm in similar situations again, but at least now I'm thinking differently, or at least I'm perceiving things differently than what I was, a few years ago. So, as we talked about on here too, take those small wins, that small progress. So, even though I can't say, hey, I was in a similar situation and I did it differently, I can say, at least when I honestly ask myself, would things go differently or would I react differently? The answer is yes. So, for me, that's a start. I'm not going to go looking for the drama to test myself to see if I would handle it differently, because I don't want to put myself through that. I feel like I've done enough work and I've done enough um, shuffling of my life, to remove myself from certain situations, remove myself from certain people, certain environments, things like that, to where I can, increase my peace and increase having the right things around me and just decrease having the wrong things around me. That I've done too much of that to now they have the mindset, well, let me go find something drama filled to see if I would handle the situation differently. I'm not. No, that ain't even the mindset that I have, because one thing, and I know I've said it on here before, that I'm enjoying it, now that I know peace, or I know a piece of peace, some peace. I don't want to go back to the chaos. And I realized that recently as well, because I had somebody come back, into my life that hadn't been around, you know, and it brought back, like, instantly, it brought back some anxiety and, some nervousness. And it made me realize, like, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to move. I don't want to go back in that direction to where, you deal with it so long that it becomes normal. You know what I'm saying? And now that I've been removed from it for so long, I realize how anxious I was and how my body was dealing with anxiety for so long that it just felt normal. Like, it seems crazy now because I've been in a peaceful place, and I've been in a stillness for so long, like a good stillness where there's no ripples, there's no drama, there's no nothing. I've been in that for so long, to have somebody now come in and constantly, start to make ripples and waves in what I've been doing. It just kind of made me realize, like, no, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So even if there was, like, a thought at one point in time, oh, let me go reach out to this person, it just, like, that went away instantly. The moment that this person, came back, and it just brought back all of these old emotions and feelings. And yeah, so it was just like, no, I'm not doing that. So I say all that to say, I'm not finna go try to find situations to see, can I handle the drama or the stress better? Do I make better decisions? Do I turn left when I used to turn right, or whatever? I'm not doing any of that. I'm gonna just continue down the path that I'm on. I know how life works, and I know that at some point something's going to come, you know, and try to disturb what I'm doing, what I got going on, what I'm working on. And when that happens, you know, I will have to use the tools and everything that I've put together so far, and, and hopefully handle the situation differently than what I used to. But I'm going to let that situation happen naturally. I'm not going to go looking for it just to show myself, or just to prove, hey, I'm doing things differently now. I see things differently. One thing, because for me, just enjoying the small steps, it's enough for me right now just to know that mentally I think things through differently. I look at things differently. I perceive things differently, and that for me is enough. You know what I'm saying? There have been, like, small situations at work that that used to get a certain reaction out of me that haven't been. So there have been little incidents here and there that I can look at and see, okay, building blocks, baby steps. I'm moving in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I don't need to go out looking for stuff. But to get back to the main topic, it took me a very, very long time to forgive myself. I can't even say it always has, because I didn't even know that forgiving, like I said, I didn't even know that forgiving myself was something that I even needed to do. But since realizing that forgiving myself is something that I needed to do, it has taken me a long time to forgive myself. I'll give you an example of something that I needed to forgive myself for. As y'all know, because I've talked about it before, um, when me and my ex broke up, I played a huge part in that. So when I had to come back home, one of the reasons why I was so dead set on trying to have a friendship and have a bond with her was because I felt bad that, you know, we were in Houston. She was having, a great time. She was enjoying life in Houston. And because of everything that we had going on and the part that I played in, what I'm saying, us breaking up, she, excuse me, she had to move back home. And so that ate at me. That that tore me up. And so my guilt and my guilt and my embarrassment and the shame that I felt because, she was in a happy space in Houston, or at least I thought she was in a happy space in Houston. At the very least, she enjoyed Houston. She preferred to be out there. And now she had to come back home because partly because of me, because of, things that I had done, decisions that I had made. And so it ate at me and it made me say, hey, go be go be her friend, for the wrong reasons. Not because she deserves a good friend, because you're guilty, because you feel guilty of what happened. And so I did that for like a year and it just made our friendship, or whatever was left of our friendship, it just strained it even more because it's like deep down I knew, hey, we need to go our separate ways. We need to give each other space, even though there's nothing romantically there. Like right now, we don't even need a friendship. We need to figure ourselves out. So even though I knew that, my guilt kept me coming back. Like, no, you're the reason why she's back home. You're going to stay and be a friend. And so my guilt is what kept drawing me back. And so once we finally, did separate and, and gave each other space, it finally, that space finally gave me the time and the space that I needed to finally forgive myself, to finally say, hey, you made some bad choices. You did some dumb things. You're human. Learn. It's okay. Learn from it. Learn from it so you don't do that going forward. And so I finally forgave myself. And so now for me, if I if we do build a friendship, it'll be because that's what we want to do, not because I feel guilty about the way things ended and the consequences of, my actions. It'll be because she's a genuine person. I want a genuine friendship with her, and things like that, as opposed to the guilt just eating at me and me trying to ease my guilt by trying to make her smile and be a friend. So yeah, like me forgiving myself was very hard. So I would punish myself because I felt like that's what I deserve, or the least that I can do is go through this, because I did that. You know what I'm saying? So man, I can't explain to y'all how refreshing it felt or how good it felt to read those words. It was fine. It was honestly like God was giving me permission, like, okay, you can breathe again. It's okay. Everything that you've been holding on to, everything that you've been torturing yourself over, everything that you've been um, frustrated about, whatever the case may be, you can let it go. You don't have to continue punishing yourself. And I mean, reading it got me a little emotional. It got me a little emotional because it was like somebody was just putting that hand on my shoulder and saying, it's okay to breathe. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to let go of this weight that you're holding on to. You can drop it. You can let it go. So it was very freeing to read those words and to just think of the idea that, okay, I don't have to punish my, because mind you, I'm not even thinking before reading that, literally the lines before or the words before reading that, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not even present to the idea that I'm carrying stuff, that I'm carrying this weight. I have no idea that it's on my shoulders, have no idea that it's burdening me. The moment I read those words and it said, you don't have to keep punishing yourself, it was like in that moment, whatever veil was over my eyes, covering my eyes, was gone. And then I could see, and I could see the weight. I could see everything that I was dealing with, the emotions, the strain, the stress, the anxiety, the depression, the frustration, the anger with myself because of decisions that I either made or decisions that I didn't make, things that I said or things that I didn't say and should have said, whatever the case may be. I felt the weight of it all. And then, like I said, I read it a couple of times, and the more I read it, the lighter that weight got on me, because it's like I don't have to keep punishing myself. And maybe I definitely needed to read that, number one, to even realize that I was dealing with that. And number two, just to hear somebody give me permission to say it's okay to not punish myself, you know, and that I can finally let it go. Whatever I was holding on to, whatever was stressing me, it's okay to let it go. It's okay to put it down. You don't have to continue walking with it if you don't want to. And man, that's what I just wanted to say to somebody today. I don't know who needs to hear it. I don't know if if it's meant for you, it'll reach you. But it's okay to let it go. It's okay to put it down. I don't know what you're holding on to. I don't know how long you've been holding on to it. I don't know how far you've had to carry it, but it's okay to let it go. You can drop it. It's okay to let go of that burden. It's okay to forgive yourself. It's okay to stop punishing yourself for a decision that you made, or if it was an honest mistake, a mistake that you made. It's okay. You don't have to keep punishing yourself over and over again, because I promise you it's not going to make you feel any better, and it's not going to get any easier. You have to forgive yourself. You have to put it down. That's the only way you're going to let go of it. Continuing to punish yourself is not going to make that load any lighter. All it's going to do is make it even harder for you, make it even more heavy, and make whatever you're doing even harder to do. So it's time to let it go. It's time to put it down. It's time to forgive yourself. It's time to learn whatever it is, whatever lesson you need to learn from that situation, from your situation, whatever your situation may be. Learn that lesson so you can put it down. So you can put all of that down, learn the lesson. And I'm telling you, it'll be one of the best feelings you've ever had, because it was one of the best feelings that I ever had, just to hear somebody say it, that it's okay. You don't have to punish yourself. And then genuinely giving yourself permission to let it go and to drop whatever it is that you're holding on to. Because you may be like me, and you may not even know that you're holding on to it. You may not even know that it's something that's burdening your mind, burdening your heart, burdening your soul, burdening your body. It's something, you know what I'm saying? It may be something you don't even know. You carrying all this weight. But the moment you start to forgive yourself, and the moment you stop punishing yourself, you'll start to feel it. You'll start to feel how much weight just starts to go away, how much pressure starts to go away, how much anxiety starts to go away once you genuinely start to forgive yourself and you stop punishing yourself for the things that you did or didn't do, whatever the case may be. And it was an amazing feeling, and so I sat there for literally like 30 minutes, just contemplating what those words meant to me and what those words just did for me in that moment, in real time. It was, I don't even know how to really put it, man. It just did a lot for me. I mean, there was things that I was stressing about that had nothing to do with um anything. It was just, oh man, a bad interview, this, that. You don't know if you're gonna get this, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? It just all disappeared. All my stress, whatever I was worried about in that moment, whatever I was annoyed about, frustrated about, it just all disappeared in that moment. And for like I said, for about a good 30 minutes, my mind was just still. It was like a peaceful moment to have, man. And I wish that for everybody, you know what I'm saying, that they can have that stillness, that moment of just peaceful tranquility, where your mind isn't going 1,000 miles a minute, and it's just like you can just sit there in peace for 30 minutes. And it was just so calm to just to finally have some mental peace over things that I didn't even know were, what I'm saying, were racing in my head. I got so used to it that it just became background noise. But it was the crazy thing is, and again, I'm gonna try to describe it the best way I can because it was background noise, but it was so loud that in order to ignore it, I had to tune so many things out, so many people out, so many emotions out. I had to tune those things out so that I could drown out all the stress and all the worrying and all the things that I was going through, that I didn't want to deal with, that I didn't want to think about. And it was just something that I just couldn't bury deep. So I had to just deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is to block it out. And unfortunately, the best way for me to block those things out was to also block out other things. I couldn't make much room for anything else because all of my energy and effort was, spent on trying to put a curtain up behind all that background, what I wanted to be background noise, but it was just really me wanting to punish myself over, again, whatever it was. Like I say, it could be a bad interview. So now I'm worried about, do I get this job or not? Now I'm worried about, um, the stress of, okay, once I get the news that I didn't get the job, is that going to put me into a spiral and depression? So it was like you trying to, and in trying to, block out all of that noise, I had to also block out a lot of other things that would have been positive. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a lot. So just reading those words allowed a lot of that noise well, really all of that noise to disappear. And it allowed me to not have such a mental strain on trying to keep all of it out because it was no longer there. And it was just like genuine peace, mental, emotional, and physical peace for about a good 30 minutes. So yeah, so I knew in that moment that I just wanted that I was gonna come on here and do this show. But I was kind of sick. I know y'all can kind of hear it, but I've been sick the past couple of days, so I haven't been able to really do it. But now that now that I'm finally able to do it, I definitely wanted to come on here and give that message because that message has done so much for me in just these past, well, because I'm trying to think how many days has it been. I don't even think it's been a week yet, or it may have just come up on a week. How much it's done for me in a week. Just that little piece of advice, that little passage of, you don't have to keep punishing yourself or stop continuing to punish yourself. I can't remember the exact words, but that has done so much for me in just this past week. And it's shown me so much about myself, and it's changed my viewpoint on so many things about myself and about the way I look at things, that it was like it's too powerful of a message for me not to talk about. And it's too powerful of a message for me not to give it a whole podcast episode, because I did do a video, like a like a 2-minute video, a little clip, that I put on TikTok and YouTube, Facebook, all of that stuff. Um if you're not following, by the way, if you're not following me on TikTok, Beyond the Fear podcast on TikTok, DJ Ely, Ealey on Facebook. But yes, I did a quick video and I was like, nah, this ain't enough. This ain't enough. I want to give it a whole episode to really break down, how it made me feel, why it made me feel like that. And so that's what I wanted to do. And I'm glad I'm getting the chance to do it. And maybe being sick was a good thing because it gave me more time to just really be in my head and elaborate, what I really wanted to say and how I wanted to say it and how I wanted to make sure I expressed what I felt in that moment. But yeah, just the pure joy that I got for those 30 minutes of just genuine peace that I don't know if everyone gets a chance to experience, but just like genuine stillness, peace, enjoyment. It felt so amazing. So man, I just want to tell people, I know I've said it, but I just want to say it again before I close out this episode. Stop punishing yourself. Stop continuing to punish yourself. You did what you did, or you didn't do what you were supposed to do, whatever the case may be. You made that action or inaction. Learn from it. Instead of continuing to punish yourself, learn from it. So that way, when you ask yourself, hey, if I'm in that situation again, how will I handle it? Learn from that instead of continuing to punish yourself. It's okay to put those burdens down. It's time to put those burdens down so you can get to where you need to get to when you need to be there. Like, how many opportunities have you missed out on because you didn't arrive on time because you're holding on to something that you shouldn't be holding on to, and it's taking you longer to get to where you need to be? That's a genuine question. That's something that I've even asked myself in this past week. How many times have I arrived late for an opportunity because it's taking me too long to get there because I'm holding on to things that I shouldn't be holding on to? So that's a question for you, to really think about. And, just understand that it's just time to let go of these things. But I say all that to say, forgive yourself. It's okay we're human. I know everybody's heard that we're human. We make mistakes. That's all true. And it's okay it's okay to make mistakes. What it's not okay is to continue making the same mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. Forgive yourself. Do better because you are better. And with that, I want to thank everybody for watching or for listening on whatever platforms y'all are listening on. And to everybody watching on YouTube, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I want to thank all of y'all for all of the support that y'all have given me. And I want to continue growing, getting bigger and better. And I hope that y'all have a blessed day.